Princess Alara stood at the edge of the landing platform, staring at the massive space station before her. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. Its surface was covered in dark metal plates that shimmered faintly under the light of the dying star nearby. The station hung in silence, drifting through the void, and its enormous shape seemed almost alive. Alara felt a shiver run down her spine. Her heart beat faster, but not from fear. It was excitement and curiosity. She was the last of her line, the human royal whose ancestors had once traveled the stars. Her mission was clear: find the artifact hidden within this ancient station and bring hope back to her dying planet. Yet, something about this place felt different. There was a presence here, invisible but powerful. She adjusted her cloak and stepped onto the docking ramp. The doors of the station opened slowly with a hiss, revealing a dark, shadowed hall. The walls were lined with strange symbols and patterns that glowed faintly blue, as if the station itself were breathing. Alara's boots echoed against the metal floor, the sound swallowed by the vast emptiness of the hall. "Princess Alara," a voice whispered, soft and almost melodic. She froze. The sound seemed to come from nowhere, and everywhere at once. She spun around, but the hall was empty. Her pulse quickened. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that she was not afraid. Not really. She had faced challenges before, but this felt different. This station was alive. Or at least, something inside it was watching her. "Who's there?" she called, her voice steady despite the thrill of fear. Only silence answered. She continued forward, her eyes scanning the shadows. The walls were adorned with murals depicting humans and alien beings working together, building ships and shaping stars. It was beautiful, but strange. Humans had never been part of the galaxy's history in this way, or had they? As she walked deeper into the station, the whispers returned. This time, her name was clear. Alara. She stopped and listened. It was not just a voice, it was a presence, guiding her. The hall twisted and turned in ways that seemed impossible, as if the station reshaped itself around her. Yet somehow, she felt a strange familiarity, as though she had walked these halls before, long ago, in a dream or a memory she did not understand. Alara's hand brushed against the wall. The metal was cold, almost soft to the touch. Tiny lights flickered beneath her fingers, revealing more symbols that she could not decipher. "What is this place?" she whispered to herself. A sudden sound made her heart leap, footsteps soft, deliberate, and echoing in the distance. She drew her hand back, listening carefully. They stopped. Silence returned, broken only by the faint hum of the station's energy. Alara realized that if she wanted the artifact, she would have to move forward. She tightened her cloak around her shoulders and took a step into a larger chamber. The room opened into a vast hall filled with shadows that seemed to move on their own. Faint light glowed from above, illuminating floating platforms and strange machinery that pulsed with energy. And then she heard it again, her name, whispered softly. "Alara, come closer." She hesitated. Something deep inside her told her that this was a test, a challenge. Her ancestors had faced similar trials, and now it was her turn. Summoning her courage, she followed the sound, stepping carefully between the floating platforms. Each step felt like walking through a dream, a place where reality and imagination blended together. As she moved, she noticed more details. The walls were not just metal, they were alive with energy. Strange glyphs glowed and shifted, almost as if they were watching her. Some symbols seemed familiar, like old human letters, but twisted in ways she could not understand. The whispers grew louder, almost like a song carried by the shadows. Alara reached a door unlike the others she had passed. It was massive, circular, and covered with intricate carvings of stars, planets, and human figures. The whispers came from behind it. She placed her hand on the door and felt a vibration. Almost like a heartbeat, she pressed forward. The door slid open silently, revealing a narrow hallway beyond. The air smelled different here, warmer and filled with a faint hum of energy. She stepped inside, and the door closed behind her. Darkness surrounded her, but it was not frightening. It was alive. Alara. The whisper came again, soft and inviting. She followed the sound through the twisting hallways, feeling a strange pull in her chest. It was not fear. It was destiny. Suddenly, she came to a wide chamber, filled with mist and shadows that moved like living things. Floating above the ground were spheres of light. Glowing softly, in the center, a pedestal held a small object covered by a thin veil of energy. Alara's breath caught. Could this be it? The artifact she had come to find? She stepped forward, but the shadows shifted, forming shapes that reminded her of tall beings with luminous eyes. They did not move aggressively. Instead, they watched her, as if testing her worthiness. "Who are you?" she asked aloud. A voice, deeper and more resonant than the whispers before, answered, "We are the Watchers. We guard what you seek, human princess. To take it, you must prove your heart and your mind." Alara nodded, her hands clenching at her sides. She had trained for challenges, had studied the wisdom of her ancestors, and faced trials on countless worlds. She was ready. The mist shifted, forming a path of light leading to the pedestal. She stepped forward carefully. As she approached, visions filled her mind, images of her ancestors standing on this station centuries ago, leaving messages for her. They had known this day would come. They had left clues hidden in the symbols and murals. Alara realized then that the whispers were not warnings, they were guidance. The station was alive, helping her, encouraging her to succeed. She reached the pedestal and touched the veil of energy. It shimmered and pulsed beneath her fingers. A warmth spread through her hand, and she felt a connection, an understanding of the artifact and the station itself. A final whisper echoed in the hall. "Choose wisely, princess. The future of your people depends on it." Alara drew back her hand, breathing deeply. She could feel the power, the responsibility, and the legacy of her family all at once. She had come here as a visitor, seeking an artifact. Now, she understood that she was part of something far greater, a lineage of humans destined to shape the galaxy. The chamber fell silent. The shadows receded, revealing more of the hall than she had seen before. Paths stretched in every direction, each one glowing faintly, inviting her to explore further. Alara took a step forward, her heart steady, her mind clear. She would face whatever challenges lay ahead, guided by the whispers, her courage, and her belief in humanity's strength. As she moved deeper into the station, she felt a thrill of adventure. Every shadow, every whisper, and every glowing symbol was a step toward her destiny. And somewhere in the darkness, the station seemed to smile, acknowledging that the human princess had arrived. The dark hall was no longer frightening. It was alive with promise, waiting for her to unlock its secrets. And Princess Alara, the last of her line, was ready. Princess Alara woke slowly, blinking against the dim blue lights glowing along the walls. She had not meant to fall asleep inside the chamber, but the warmth of the energy veil and the calm humming of the station had been strangely comforting. Her head felt lighter now, and she sensed that something had changed around her. The whispers were no longer calling her name, but she felt a presence nearby, like invisible eyes watching her. She stood up and brushed the dust from her cloak. The pedestal still glowed softly, but the veil of energy had faded, almost as if it was resting too. Alara took a deep breath and stepped away from it. She knew this was only the beginning, not the end. As she walked toward the exit of the chamber, the mist around her shifted gently, creating a slow swirl like a quiet breeze. The air seemed alive. Alara felt both nervous and curious, ready for whatever would come next. The moment she stepped into the long hallway, she heard it. "Princess Alara, welcome again." The voice was deeper this time, not a whisper, but smooth and steady. She stopped and looked around, but saw nothing except shadows shifting across the walls. "Who are you?" she asked firmly. The shadows pulsed like breathing. Then they gathered slowly at the far end of the hall, forming a tall figure made only of darkness and faint blue light outlining its shape. It looked like a being made from the night sky, its eyes shining softly like stars. "We are the Watchers, the figure said. Guardians of this ancient station. Protectors of the knowledge your ancestors left behind. Alara stared in surprise. My ancestors? Humans were here? Yes, the Watcher replied. Long before your time. Long before your records remembered. Humans once walked these halls as builders, explorers, and friends. Alara's heart skipped. She had always heard stories from old history books, stories about humans exploring the stars long ago. But none of them said anything about a place like this. No book spoke of shadow beings or glowing symbols or living stations. Why? She whispered. Why were they here? To help us, the figure said. And to learn from us. Humans were chosen, Princess. They carried courage, curiosity, and hope. They had the heart to face the unknown without fear, and they left something behind for you. The shadows shifted, stretching along the corridor like liquid darkness. Walk, the shadow said gently. There is much to show you. Alara nodded and followed. Her steps echoed softly as she walked alongside the tall, shadowy figure, who moved silently without touching the ground. The hall widened, revealing walls filled with glowing murals. Alara stopped to study one. It showed a human ship arriving at the station long ago. Another mural showed humans working beside tall glowing beings that looked very similar to the Watcher walking with her. Were these your ancestors? She asked. Yes, the figure answered. And also yours. Alara stared at the mural closely. The humans in the image wore simple suits, but their faces were clear. One of the human figures even looked like her same eyes. Same sharp chin. Who is that? She asked softly. The shadow figure paused. Your great ancestor. She was the first human to unlock the secrets of this station. She understood what this place truly was. She learned from us, and she helped us create the artifact you seek. Alara swallowed. So the artifact was not just a tool, it was something shaped by human hands. Something tied to her family. Where is it? She asked. What do I have to do? The Watcher glided forward and stopped near a curved doorway. You will see, it said. But first, you must understand. The station has chosen you. The shadows have spoken your name because you are the one meant to continue what your ancestor began. Alara stepped through the doorway. The room inside was huge, like a planetarium. Stars floated in the air as tiny white points of light. Planets orbited slowly around glowing centers. She gasped. It was like stepping into a miniature galaxy. What is this? She whispered. It is memory, the Watcher answered. The memory of our people. The memory of your people. The knowledge of many worlds. Alara reached out her hand. A small star of light drifted closer and hovered above her palm. When she touched it, her mind filled with images, crowded human cities, blue skies, vast oceans. Then other images of alien worlds. Mountain ranges shaped like spirals, floating islands, shining towers. How is this possible? She breathed. The station remembers everything. The shadow replied. Everything it has seen, everything humans and Watchers once shared. But now, much of the galaxy has forgotten this place. Alara felt a knot grow in her chest. Her homeworld, Terra Nova, was struggling for survival. The sun was losing its strength. Crops were failing. Water was becoming scarce. Her people needed help desperately. She had traveled through many dangerous routes to come here, following old data files passed down through her family. And now she finally understood why this place mattered so much. Is the artifact here? Alara asked again, her voice steady now. Yes, the Watcher said. But the artifact is not only a tool. It is a living intelligence. A starbinder. It can restore light to dying stars. It can bring hope to worlds near collapse. Alara's heart raced. This was exactly what her planet needed. But, the Watcher continued, the artifact cannot be taken. It must choose. Alara frowned. What do you mean? The shadow's form shimmered. It will not serve someone who is not ready. It will not trust someone whose heart is weak or clouded by fear. It responds to strength, not strength of power, but strength of purpose. Alara understood at once. This was the test. This was why the whispers had guided her here. She had to prove herself worthy. "What must I do?" she asked. The Watcher extended an arm, and a path of light appeared across the dark floor. The stars around her dimmed, and the room grew quiet. "Walk the path," the shadow said. "Face the trials. Listen to the station. Hear the truth inside you. Only then will the artifact speak." Alara lifted her chin. Her eyes were steady and filled with determination. "I'm ready." She stepped onto the glowing path, the first trial. The moment her foot touched the light, the room shifted. The star-filled chamber dissolved into dark mist. Alara blinked as shapes formed around her. She found herself standing on a metallic bridge suspended high above a swirling void. Wind rushed past her, cold and sharp. The bridge shook slightly under her feet. A voice echoed through the darkness. Not the Watcher's voice. A new one. Trial 1. Courage. The path ahead stretched a long distance, disappearing into fog. Beneath the bridge, shadows twisted like giant creatures waiting to swallow anything that fell. Alara's breath caught. The bridge was narrow, too narrow. One wrong step and she would fall into the void below. But she tightened her grip on her cloak and stepped forward. Every step echoed loudly. The wind grew stronger. The shadows below growled softly, as if hungry. Halfway across, the bridge shook violently. Alara lost her balance and dropped to one knee. A piece of the bridge behind her cracked and fell away into the dark. She forced herself up, her legs shaking. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "You must." Step by step, she moved forward, refusing to look down. Her heart pounded hard but steady. At last, the fog parted, revealing solid ground at the end of the bridge. Alara took the final step, and the bridge dissolved behind her like smoke disappearing in light. "Courage," acknowledged, the voice said. Alara exhaled with relief. The second trial. The mist thickened again. When it cleared, she stood in a circular room with mirrors on every wall. Each mirror reflected her, but not exactly her. One reflection looked afraid. Another looked angry. Another looked uncertain. "Trial 2. Truth," the voice said. The reflections began to speak, all at once. "You are not strong enough. You cannot save your people. You will fail like the rest. You are alone. You are not worthy." The noise grew louder and louder until it felt like it was filling her head. Alara covered her ears, but the reflections kept speaking. Then she stopped running. She lowered her hands slowly. "Stop," she said quietly. The voices continued. She stepped toward the mirrors and looked at each reflection one by one. "You are not me," she said softly. "I am afraid sometimes, yes, but fear does not control me. I have doubts, yes, but doubt will not stop me. I am human, and humans rise even when they fall." The reflections froze. Then each one slowly faded until only one remained, her real reflection, standing straight and strong. "Truth acknowledged," the voice said. The room dissolved once more. The third trial. Alara stood now in a quiet garden glowing with soft blue light. Trees with silver leaves surrounded her. A stone bench sat near a small pool of water. This time, no voice spoke. But Alara understood without needing words. This was a test of heart. Her mind filled with memories of her world, children waiting for food, families praying for rain, people staring up at the dim, fading sun. She remembered her mother telling her, "You must lead with kindness, no matter how heavy the crown feels." She knelt near the pool and touched the water. "I want to save them," she whispered. "Not for power, not for glory. For them. For the future." The pool glowed brighter. "Heart acknowledged," the unseen voice said. "You may enter." The garden dissolved into bright white light. The artifact awakens. Alara opened her eyes and found herself back in the central chamber, but it looked different now. The pedestal was brighter than before. The artifact, still covered by a thin layer of shimmering energy, pulsed gently. The Watcher stood beside her. "You faced the trials with courage, truth, and heart," it said. "Now the artifact will decide." Alara stepped toward it. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with anticipation. The energy veil dissolved like soft mist. Inside was a smooth crystal sphere, glowing with a warm golden light. It looked simple, but the power inside it felt immense, like a star compressed into a small form. Alara reached out her hands slowly. The sphere lifted into the air on its own. A soft voice filled the room, gentle and warm. "Princess Alara," it said, "I have been waiting for you." The chamber glowed brighter, and Alara felt a surge of awe. "Are you alive?" she asked. "Yes," the artifact replied. "I am the Starbinder. Created by your ancestor, shaped by the Watchers. And now, I choose you." Light wrapped around her hand, warm and calm. Alara felt tears in her eyes, not of sadness, but of hope. The artifact spoke again. "Your journey continues, princess, but light is yours to carry." The chamber brightened, and the shadows whispered in harmony. "The chosen human awakens the ancient light." Princess Alara stood in the glowing chamber, her hand resting on the Starbinder. The golden light filled her vision, warm and steady, like the sun she remembered on Terra Nova before its rays began to fade. She could feel the immense power within the artifact, a living consciousness that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. It was beautiful and terrifying. The Watcher's form hovered silently beside her, its shadowy shape more defined now. "You have passed the trials," it said, "but the journey is not complete." The artifact does not merely give power. It tests understanding, wisdom, and the courage to choose. Only then will it fully awaken. Alara's heart raced. Her planet was dying. Crops failed. Rivers were drying. And her people looked to her for hope. She had come here to bring them light, to restore life to their failing world. Yet, now that the artifact was here, so close, she felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. This was more than power. It was a choice with consequences beyond her understanding. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The whispers she had heard since arriving in the station returned, soft and melodic. "Alara, your people, your world," they said. They were not frightening now. They were gentle, guiding, urging her to listen to her heart. Opening her eyes, she stared at the Starbinder. The golden light reflected in her eyes. She could feel it calling to her. The chamber around her shifted, stars floating higher and higher until the walls disappeared, leaving her standing in the center of an endless galaxy. Planets and suns swirled around her, and she understood in that moment how small and vast she truly was. "You see, princess," the Watcher said, "the artifact is alive. It can create or destroy. It can restore dying stars or consume them. The choice is yours. But know this: it will not serve selfish intent. Only a pure heart may guide its power." Alara swallowed. She remembered the trials, the bridge that tested courage, the mirrors that demanded truth, the garden that proved her heart. She had passed them all. But this was different. This was a test of vision, of purpose. She began, but the artifact pulsed gently, as if urging her to speak. "I want to save my planet. I want to help my people. Not for glory, not for myself, for them, for life, for hope." The Starbinder's light grew stronger. She could feel the energy flowing through her. Not like electricity, but like warmth, like sunlight flowing into every part of her being. She felt the hopes of her ancestors, the strength of the Watchers, and the courage of her people coursing within her. "Your heart is true," the artifact said in a voice like the hum of 1,000 stars. "But are you ready to carry the weight of creation?" Alara nodded, though her chest tightened at the thought. "I am. I will do what must be done." The chamber shifted again. The walls and ceiling vanished entirely. She stood alone on a platform of light floating in space, surrounded by stars. The Starbinder rose in front of her, glowing brighter than any sun she had ever seen. Its voice spoke again. "Creation demands balance," it said. "To bring life, you must understand sacrifice. To awaken the stars, you must first face your own fears." Alara's mind raced. She thought of her people struggling under the dim sun of Terra Nova. She thought of children waiting for water, of farmers watching fields withering, of elders praying for the light to return. She thought of her ancestors who had come here centuries ago, leaving knowledge for someone like her to continue their work. "I am not afraid," she said, steadying her voice. "I will do what is needed." The Starbinder's light enveloped her, and suddenly, she was not alone. She saw visions, glimpses of worlds she had never known, civilizations rising and falling, stars igniting and dying. Some planets were cold and dark, others warm and full of life. And everywhere, she saw humans small, fragile, but resilient, finding ways to survive and thrive. "They are waiting," the artifact said, "waiting for humans to rise again." Alara felt a deep sense of pride and awe. Humans were not the strongest species, nor the fastest or the smartest, but they had something others lacked: a spark of courage, of hope, of creativity. They had shaped the galaxy quietly, leaving traces that only a few remembered. And now, she was part of that legacy. "Then I choose," she said firmly, "to awaken the light, to guide humanity forward, to restore what has been lost, and protect what remains." The Starbinder glowed so brightly that she had to shield her eyes with her hand. Then, in an instant, the chamber transformed. Energy flowed into every corner of the station, illuminating hidden corridors, revealing murals, symbols, and carvings that had been forgotten for centuries. The Watchers appeared around her, now fully visible. Their forms were radiant, luminous, their shadows dancing in harmony with the light. "You have made your choice," the tallest Watcher said, "and you have proven worthy. Humanity has awakened the ancient light once more." Alara felt warmth flow through her entire body. The Starbinder lifted higher, spinning slowly, releasing streams of golden energy into the station. The light reached every chamber, every corridor, every shadowed corner, and then it left the station, traveling across the stars toward Terra Nova. She could feel her planet responding. In her mind, she saw rivers filling with water, plants stretching toward the sun, and skies brightening with renewed light. The people of Terra Nova would see hope again. She could feel it in her heart, but the Starbinder had more to teach. "Creation is not the end," it said. "It is the beginning. Light spreads, life grows, and every action you take now echoes through the galaxy. Humans must rise, guided by courage, wisdom, and heart. The future is yours to shape." Alara understood. This was not just about her planet. This was about humanity. Humans had been small, scattered, and often forgotten, but they carried a spark no other species had, and now, she was the one to guide that spark forward. "I will do it," she said. "I will lead. I will teach. I will protect. And I will ensure humans never forget their place in the stars." The Starbinder pulsed once more, as if acknowledging her promise. Then, it lowered back onto the pedestal, calm and steady. The chamber around her returned to normal, but now, it was filled with light, warmth, and a sense of life. The Watchers gathered near her. "You have chosen wisely, Princess. The artifact is yours, not as a tool of power, but as a partner. Together, you will guide humanity's return to the galaxy." Alara looked at them, feeling both humility and pride. "Thank you," she said. "I will not fail." A gentle hum filled the chamber. The walls, once cold and dark, glowed with golden symbols and murals depicting humans shaping stars, building ships, and exploring worlds. The station itself seemed to breathe in joy. "You see, Princess," the Watcher said softly, "humans are not just survivors. They are creators, explorers, and protectors. They can rise even from darkness, if they remember who they are." Alara smiled. "I understand now. I have always known humans were strong, but I see it clearly here, and I will remind everyone, one day, of what we are capable of." The shadows shifted, forming doors and pathways that had been hidden for centuries. Some led deeper into the station, Others opened toward space. Alara knew this was her choice to explore further, to learn more, and to guide the Starbinder wisely. Yet, she felt no fear. She had faced trials of courage, truth, and heart. She had proven herself to the artifact and the Watchers. And most importantly, she believed in humanity. "Princess," the Starbinder said in a soft, melodic tone, "your journey has only begun. But your people will see the light again because of you. Go now. Teach, inspire, protect, and always remember the spark that brought you here." Alara stepped back from the pedestal, taking one last look at the glowing chamber. The light filled her eyes, and she felt strength and hope flowing in every part of her being. She was not just a princess. She was a guide, a leader, a symbol of what humans could achieve. "I will not forget," she said, "and I will make sure humanity remembers its own strength." The Starbinder pulsed once, warmly, as if smiling. The Watchers faded into the shadows, leaving her alone but not lonely. She could feel their presence in every corner, in every whisper of the station, guiding her, reminding her that she was not alone. Alara walked toward the station's exit. The corridors, once mysterious and dark, now seemed like a path of light and knowledge. Every step reminded her of the trials she had faced, the lessons she had learned, and the responsibility she now carried. Beyond the station, the stars waited. Planets, suns, and galaxies stretched infinitely. And somewhere, far below, Terra Nova waited for her, waiting for the light, the hope, and the courage she would bring back. The whispers returned, soft and gentle. Not frightening now, not demanding, just guiding. "Go, princess. Lead them, inspire them, protect them. The galaxy awaits." Alara took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to carry humanity's light into the stars. Princess Alara stepped off the landing platform of the ancient station, her heart filled with a mixture of hope and determination. The Starbinder hovered beside her, its golden light pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Beyond the station, the void stretched endlessly, studded with distant stars. Somewhere in that expanse, her home planet, Terra Nova, waited, still struggling under a fading sun. Now, she carried a power that could restore life, and a knowledge that could guide humanity into a new age. The journey back would not be easy. Space was vast, and the station's location had been kept secret for centuries. Yet, Alara felt no fear. The trials, the shadows, and the whispers had all prepared her for this moment. She stepped toward the command deck of her small starship, the golden glow of the artifact lighting her path. The Starbinder's energy expanded gently around her, connecting with the ship's systems. Lights blinked on, engines hummed, and the navigation systems realigned themselves. It was as if the station itself had given her guidance, ensuring she could find her way home. "Ready, princess," a voice said. It was Lieutenant Kale, her trusted aide. He had followed her through countless missions, supporting her with loyalty and courage. His eyes widened as he saw the artifact glowing beside her. "I am," Alara replied, her voice steady. "We carry hope now, Kale, and we cannot fail." Alara voice, creatend, armament, creatend, 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 creatend. The ship lifted off smoothly, leaving the ancient station behind. Its dark metal hull glinted in the light of distant stars. The Starbinder floated above the deck, its energy softly illuminating the faces of the crew. Alara studied the stars. Each one seemed alive now, connected to her in ways she could feel but not entirely understand. She could sense the energy of the Starbinder extending across the galaxy, touching worlds in need of life and guidance. Terra Nova, her home, was waiting at the center of her heart. Return to Terra Nova. Days later, the ship approached Terra Nova. From orbit, the planet appeared dim, its oceans gray, its forests withered, and cities covered in dust. The sun was faint, struggling to light the world below. Alara's chest tightened at the sight. The people she loved were suffering, and time was running out. "Prepare the Starbinder," Alara commanded. "We will begin the restoration." The crew moved quickly, following her instructions. The Starbinder floated above the planet, its golden glow expanding like the first rays of a new sun. Alara raised her hands, guiding its energy, as the artifact responded to her intent. Streams of light flowed from the sphere, touching the oceans, forests, and cities. Below, the rivers began to fill. Water shimmered, flowing over dry riverbeds and turning gray soil into fertile earth. Forests breathed once more, leaves unfurling in green brilliance. Crops in fields lifted toward the sun as the light strengthened. Even the faint glow of the sun grew brighter, its rays restored by the Starbinder's power. From space, Alara could see the people on the surface. They looked up in astonishment as a golden glow washed over the land. Children ran into fields, laughing as water returned to rivers. Farmers dropped their tools, staring at the sky in wonder. Cities lit up with life again, and the faint hum of energy spread like a heartbeat across the planet. Alara's heart swelled. Humanity's spark had returned. Their hope had been reignited, and she had played a part in this proof that humans could rise, even from near collapse. With courage, wisdom, and heart, the people recognize her. Alara descended to the surface with her small crew, the Starbinder floating above her like a guardian. People ran toward her, calling her name. Their voices carried across the fields and towns. Mothers lifted children into the air. Elders bowed in respect. Soldiers saluted. Everyone recognized that something extraordinary had happened. "My princess," a young boy shouted, running forward. "The rivers, the sun, the plants, it's all alive again." Alara smiled, kneeling to meet him at eye level. "Yes, little one. Humanity has the power to rise again. Never forget that." Even in the darkest times, the people cheered, but Alara's gaze lifted toward the horizon. She knew this was only the beginning. Restoring the planet was one thing. Guiding humanity to greatness would require patience, courage, and wisdom. But she was ready. Lieutenant Kale stood beside her, eyes wide with admiration. "Princess, you did it. All of it." Alara shook her head softly. "We did it. Humanity did it. The Starbinder only showed us the way. The people's courage and hope made this possible. A new era." Over the following months, Alara worked tirelessly to guide her people. The Starbinder became a symbol of hope and unity. It taught humans how to harness energy responsibly, how to restore life to struggling ecosystems, and even how to build new technologies using the knowledge left behind by her ancestors. Alara traveled across the planet, speaking to her people, inspiring them to think beyond survival. "We are not just humans," she would tell them. "We are creators, explorers, and protectors. We shape our world and the stars beyond. Remember that always." Cities grew brighter, forests flourished, and new settlements rose where land had once been barren. Children learned to respect the balance of life. Farmers cultivated crops with wisdom and care. Engineers and scientists studied the Starbinder, learning the principles of energy, light, and creation. Yet, Alara never lost sight of the galaxy beyond. The whispers she had heard in the dark halls of the station still guided her. The Watchers, though unseen, had not left her side. Their wisdom was now part of humanity's journey. A challenge from the stars. One night, as Alara stood on a high cliff watching the restored sun set, the Starbinder pulsed urgently. A distant point of light in the sky flickered an approaching fleet of ships, alien in design. Moving toward Terra Nova, Alara's pulse quickened. Humanity had been small, fragile, but not unnoticeable. Other civilizations, sensing the return of light and power, might see humans as a threat or a curiosity. KL joined her, studying the approaching ships. "Princess, they are advanced. Faster than anything we've seen. What do we do?" Alara placed her hand on the Starbinder. Its warmth spread into her palm, calming her. She took a deep breath. We greet them. We do not fight unless we must. Humanity's strength is not in weapons alone. Our strength is in courage, wisdom, and heart. That is what will guide us forward. The ships drew closer, their silhouettes sharp against the glow of the restored sun. But Alara stood tall. She would face this challenge as she had faced the trials of the station bravely, wisely, and with hope in her heart. The starbinder glowed brightly, signaling readiness. Its energy formed a protective aura around Terra Nova, not as a weapon, but as a shield of light and understanding. The alien fleet slowed, sensing the presence of power, and transmitted a signal. Alara spoke into the communication system, her voice strong and clear. We are humans of Terra Nova. We mean peace. We have restored life to our world, and we seek only to share knowledge, hope, and friendship. There was silence for a moment. Then the fleet altered its course, moving closer slowly but not with aggression. Alara sensed curiosity, not hostility. The starbinder pulsed warmly, as if approving her words. Humanity had returned not just as survivors, but as creators, as leaders, as a species capable of rising above darkness. A legacy of light. Days passed, and the aliens made contact. Alara met their leaders and shared the story of Terra Nova, the starbinder, and humanity's history among the stars. They listened with respect, amazed at the courage, wisdom, and resilience of a species they had long underestimated. News of Terra Nova's revival spread to other star systems. Humans became a symbol of hope, of creativity, and of the strength that comes from courage and heart. Alara guided her people carefully, ensuring that humanity's power was used for good, to restore life, to protect the weak, and to explore the stars responsibly. And every night, as the sun set over the restored fields and forests, Alara would stand on a cliff, watching the stars. She could feel the whispers of the watchers, guiding her, reminding her that humans had a place among the stars. Somewhere in the dark halls of the ancient station, echoes remained. Shadows shifted softly, as if smiling. The human princess had answered the call. She had faced the darkness, passed the trials, and awakened the light. And humanity, small yet strong, fragile yet brave, would never forget its place in the galaxy. The starbinder hovered above her, warm and glowing. Its voice spoke softly, a whisper for her alone. You have awakened us, princess. And now, humanity rises. Alara closed her eyes, feeling pride, hope, and responsibility. The dark hall had whispered her name, guiding her through fear, truth, and heart. And now, light stretched across the galaxy, beginning with Terra Nova, and extending into the infinite stars beyond. She opened her eyes, smiling. The future awaited. Humanity was ready, and so was she.